Right. Great. So you are here for the Da Vinci Center for Innovation academic overview for our undergraduate programs. So as I said, thanks so much for attending. Basically, what I'm going to cover today is just to go over kind of what our undergraduate academic programs are, how you get involved if that's something you're interested in, and then I'm happy to take any questions. I really enjoy doing these info sessions because we always get good questions that I feel like everybody probably has, or maybe something that somebody else hasn't thought of, but you have. So it's great to do these kind of together. Just a quick overview of what we are, who we are at the Da Vinci Center. So first and foremost, my name is Mary Chris Escobar. I'm the Assistant Director for Academic Programs. And so I work kind of with students with everything from recruiting into our programs, so things like this, all the way through advising and graduation. So kind of the whole life cycle of your time in Da Vinci. But what our center is, we are a cross-disciplinary center. And when we ask students who have been through our certificate programs what they liked the most about it, what drew them to it, it really is that idea of being cross-disciplinary. So having a root in a particular major, so maybe you're studying biology or psychology, computer science, graphic design, marketing, you're going to root in that discipline and you're going to have a lot of knowledge there. But you also have curiosity around how do you work with students who are studying different things. Maybe you like a lot of different things. You are curious about a lot of different subjects. And so while you've picked one thing to study, you really want that experience of collaborating with students who are studying other different things. This is also available and great if you have not picked a major yet. So if you're new at VCU and you're like, I love all the things, like there's too many things to narrow down and pick, students can get involved with our programs at Da Vinci before they have declared a major. The biggest qualification is that you have to be a student at VCU. So you're already past that hurdle. We are also really hands-on. So we are, everything that we do, we always say that we don't take tests, we take risks. So there are no tests in our classes. You're going to be doing hands-on projects, often with your fellow students in the course. So we very much believe in learn by doing. And so you're going to get to test things out and try things in our classes. And then our focus, so I think our overall mission is to bring students together across disciplines, to give them hands-on real world experiences. And we do that through teaching innovation and entrepreneurship. And so that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. Just so you all know, we're talking today about our certificate in human-centered design, our certificate in product innovation, and our certificate in venture creation. We also have graduate programs. So we have a Master of Product Innovation and a graduate certificate in healthcare innovation. We have other info sessions for students who are maybe, junior, seniors and starting to explore graduate programs, but just wanted you to be aware that those do exist. We do have those at our center. We also at our center run a lot of programming for all students. And so I'm not really focusing on that today. Today, again, is talking about the academic programs, but we have design jams and sprints, which are just times for students to come in and learn about what we teach at Da Vinci. We do human-centered design training for a lot of the university. We run a pre-accelerator where we give students business planning and pitch and human-centered design training kind of all together, and then they get to pitch their products at the end of the semester. So we run that in the spring. So if you're listening to this and wanting to be involved with us, but don't want to do a certificate, those are great options to get involved. And we've got an open house coming up Thursday in our retail lab space, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. That's a good time to come and learn about those experiential programs. But for today, the most common question I get is, what is an undergraduate certificate? And so if you're familiar with the concept of a minor, so adding something onto your major, adding a few additional classes to your major, really a certificate is like that. We're a little bit more official in that you actually get 2 pieces of paper when you graduate. So if you graduate with your, let's say, degree in graphic design and your certificate in product innovation, you actually get like 2 things. You get a diploma and a certificate. For venture creation and product innovation, both of those are considered academic certificates. So they're like a separate credential, but they basically go alongside your major. There's no like difference in tuition, like you're just taking additional classes with Da Vinci. You're not paying like additional fees or tuition to work with us. You're just working these courses in alongside your major. And then, like I just said, it's a way to broaden your skills. So it's a way to be rooted in your major, but have skills across different disciplines. Our first certificate is a certificate of completion. So this is our shortest certificate. This is not one of those where you get kind of that separate piece of paper, separate graduation thing at the end. But the certificate of completion is really the theory and the practices behind design thinking or human-centered design. You take 2 1-credit classes and a 2-credit class, and then 1 to 2 elective, or 2 electives usually from our other programs. So this is a 9-credit certificate. You start out by getting the theory behind design thinking. So how do you iterate on something that you want to create, iterate on a solution to a problem? How do you then prototype what you have iterated? How do you, from there, do customer interviews and journey mapping and that kind of thing? So really looking at how you keep the person centered in the whole time you're developing a business or developing a product or something that you'd like to sell. So again, it's cross-disciplinary. You take those foundational classes, and then you take a couple other electives that you can choose from either product innovation or venture creation. These 2 certificates that I'm going to talk about now, I really think of product innovation as being kind of externally focused and venture creation as being a little bit more internally focused as far as where the ideas are coming from. So product innovation is all about product design, problem solving, being really hands-on, again, coming together across disciplines. So in this certificate, let's say you're coming in as an engineering major, you take an arts course and a business course with us, and then you take a project class. Similarly, an arts student would take a business course and an engineering course, and then a project course. So this is designed to give you experience in areas that you don't have it, but might be really curious about. If a student is coming in from humanities and sciences, they take arts, business, and engineering with us. So it gives you a little bit of exposure to those areas. And then in the final capstone, we work with local companies. And so we work with companies, like we always do a project with VCU Health. We've worked with Capital One. We've worked with CarMax. They bring us a project and our students actually get to come up with a solution. So that could be coming up with a physical product. It could be coming up with something that's tech, like an app that solves the problem. And sometimes it's coming up with a process. So it is finding a new process that solves a problem. So product is super loosely used. Like you might be creating something physical, but it could be more like intellectual property or something where you're creating something in the tech space. So project innovation is just really, you don't have to have any past experience in any of those things. It is designed to let you practice working on solving a problem for a company. So super real world. One thing I love that students always tell me they get out of this is they learn kind of what they're uniquely bringing to a team from their primary major. So they learn what they are learning as somebody studying like psychology and human behavior. They learn what they're helping their teammates understand. If there's someone who's studying business, they learn like how they're helping their team talk through things like return on investment and marketing studies. An engineer brings a lot of knowledge often about like how things work, and like if you are building a physical product, like how to actually construct that so it holds up and is safe. Art students bring that lens of design and how do we make this thing we've created aesthetically pleasing. So really awesome way to collaborate with students and get a lot of information across different disciplines and get a little exposure to those. I always say this is great if you're just naturally curious and you've picked a major, but you really love a lot of things and want to have that experience of studying other things while you're here at VCU. So while that one is focused in that final capstone on a project that we bring in and you all become the experts and you act as the consultants and you solve that problem, venture creation is really if you are coming in knowing that you want to be an entrepreneur, you want to own your own business, own your own nonprofit, maybe you know that you want to do freelance work and you want to learn how to market sort of yourself as a business in that way. Venture creation is very internally focused. So the projects that you do here are driven by the students in the class. So venture creation is looking really at entrepreneurship through that lens of design thinking. So everything we do, be that the human-centered design certificate, be that product innovation or venture creation, everything is going to be that lens of design thinking. How do we use kind of the design process? How do we use an iterative process? How do we keep our customer kind of front and center and figure out what they really want, how to best reach them, how to provide the services that they need. So venture creation really is looking at how you use that lens to start your own business. And so you get kind of the foundational skills in venture creation. And then in the project class, or the final course for this certificate, you and your classmates come together and work on a business that you all decide that you want to start, and you try to get it as close to launch as you can in a semester. And that really gives you the practice knowledge to take out and use to start your own venture down the road. So both product innovation and venture creation, again, strongly rooted in human-centered design. So you can kind of pick and choose, like you can do the shorter human-centered design certificate, but don't think you're not going to get that if you take product innovation or venture creation. And they are, again, both very, very hands-on. So it's just whether you kind of know you're headed towards starting your own business, or you know that you want to learn those skills around product. So for product innovation, there's 2 electives required, and you typically take those from your major. So from whatever, we pull those from whatever you are studying as your primary major. For venture creation, it really focuses on those extra electives, those 6 credits of electives you take come from places like creative practices and School of the Arts, where you're looking kind of at the business side of arts. We also work with School of Business with classes like marketing, survey of entrepreneurship. So you've got a lot of choices kind of looking at how different disciplines look at entrepreneurship for your electives for this program. And those often work in with something that you need to take for your major, kind of depending on what your major is. Something that we're really excited about that is coming online that I kind of referenced earlier, we do have our Shift Retail Lab, and that is right across from the Siegel Center. It's in the Grayson Broad 2 Residence Hall. We have an open house that's out on the Weeks of Welcome schedule that you can come to Thursday. You can drop by anytime between 10 and 12 to get some breakfast, pastries and coffee, and visualize and get a look at the space. But the space is really designed for students who are in both of these programs, as well as students who are doing our experiential program and in our master's program, to test out things that they're selling. So if you do have a product that you want to sell in venture creation, you could play with price points, you could play with how you display it on a shelf, you could play with the packaging and get real-time feedback. So we'll be doing things like pop-up shops. If students are interested in creating something more experiential, they can sign up to use the space to kind of create that experience. But it's really a student-facing space that will allow you to test out ideas that you have around the space of product innovation, product design, venture creation, and use it as a place to get feedback from real customers. So that officially opens in November, but we're doing a lot of soft launch events this semester just to kind of let students know that it's there. Something we're really proud of about that space is once we've got students up and running and selling in the space and doing pop-up shops, you would keep any proceeds that you made as a student. So we're still kind of figuring out like how that will work, like if that's a Venmo code that people just pay you directly or how we split that up. But our desire with the retail lab is it to be truly a lab for students and not a way that we make money. So we're really pretty excited about that coming online. The other thing that I will mention, since we are just a day before classes start, is we do have an intro course called Inno 200. That is a 1-credit course, and it is required for both product innovation and venture creation. It meets on Mondays from 5 to 5:50. It is an online synchronous class. So it's primarily a lecture series where you're going to get to hear from entrepreneurs, people who work in the product and project space. And so we actually can run that class better when it's online because we can pull speakers from a lot of different places. And so that was one of those, I think, happy learnings in the last year as everything was forced online, was how much stronger and better that class got. So it's a quick introduction to design thinking and then some exercises around that to get students kind of introduced to that terminology and process, and then primarily from there, a lecture series. So if anyone is here today or listening to this and looking for 1 credit to add to their schedule, and it's free on Mondays from 5 to 5:50, you can add that on, and that is a great way to get started with our programs. You do not have to take that class before you enter our programs. It is just the first required class in the 2 certificates, the product innovation and venture creation. The way that you do get into our programs, I have up right now. First and foremost, you just have to be a student at VCU. Any and all majors are welcome. We talk a lot about business arts and engineering. because that's kind of how we were founded, was out of those schools. But we are open to humanities and sciences, Wilder School, education, social work, like anybody. Interdisciplinary studies were often a great match for students in that major because we are so cross-disciplinary. So open to anybody at the university, you just have to be a student at VCU. For human-centered design, you're going to fill out a quick application on our website. And then for product innovation and venture creation, it's that same application plus a short interview. None of this is meant to be intimidating. So I know like the idea of an application and interview is like, oh, like, am I not going to get accepted? What we want to do is make sure that you know that we're hands-on, we're team-based. Like this is not a series of courses that you're going to come in and sit and listen to lectures. These info sessions are probably the most lecture-y thing that we sort of do. You're really going to be digging in and getting hands-on. So we want to talk about kind of your experience with teamwork, get to know you as a person, but again, not meant to be an intimidating thing, just meant to kind of make sure that you understand our programs and we get to know you a little bit better. You can apply at any time. So I do get questions sometimes again about, do I have to take that 1 credit class before I apply? Nope. You can take it and apply while you're in the class, or you can apply at any point after you're accepted to VCU. So that is all that you need to do to get involved with our programs. I will also just quickly point out a couple things on our website. So on our website, if you go to undergraduate, you can click on any of the certificates. There's a little more information here. And then under each one, there's a button that would take you to the application. And then the other place I just want to point out is our events page. That is where we have our regular info sessions listed, everything we're doing for Weeks of Welcome. But this is also where, when we're doing design thinking training for the whole university or any kind of special things, they would be listed here as well. I will also follow up with anybody who is registered to this session today with links. Anybody who attended or is registered with links to like sign up for our newsletter and some information about that as well. But just wanted to show you those couple things. I am quickly going to just go ahead and wrap up the recording portion of this. So for those of you that are listening and tuning in, thank you so much for doing that, and look for an email if you're registered for this session and getting the recording. There'll be additional information about how to sign up and do all that.